Okay, folks, I'm back with a short list of stocks to watch for next week. I mean, I'm not going to go crazy. Let's see how the start of the year winds up panning out. One thing we do know for certain is that oil and gas names look like they could potentially get some follow through. So that'll be interesting to watch next week. Also, real quick, there's some stuff going on between Saudi Arabia and Iran. I think Saudi Arabia, they executed 47 terrorists over the weekend, and it looks like that's getting a little blowback. Got some things going on. These oil-rich nations, there could be some stuff developing there, and that's pretty interesting. So keep an eye on that. But um, small list for next week. We can definitely suggest to pay attention to the oil and gas sector. See if we get some follow through. There's a boatload of names that have some pretty coiled up looking charts. Like we could get some nice movement there. So worth paying attention to that whole sector. Uh, RVLT. Listen, if you've been following me, you know that one of my themes, or one of the things that I like, is when I see people, insiders, getting involved with their stock. And full disclosure, I did take RVLT for uh, just a fairly small swing position. I'm still holding it. Um, did almost get stopped out on Friday, but had a nice recovery at the end of the day. And I am looking for this to eventually go up and go for the old Valhalla roll. Had some insider buying by the CEO on December 31st, picked up 100,000 shares at 69 cents. I like seeing insider buys. I am, and I've showed this to you all before, but whenever you see some real conviction in insider buying, like we saw with Rovi, that turned out to be a big win for the people that were buying it at $10.84, $10.42, even $11.14. Heck of a run on Rovi, and now, of course, we're looking for a potential pullback and a gap fill on that. But so RVLT, I do have it as a small swing, looking for an eventual dollar roll. AT, another one that had some insider buying. I actually did try to get this on Friday, and I didn't get the price that I wanted, so I wound up not getting involved in the stock. But I may be looking at this for a potential red to green move next week. Had some insider buying, 168 through 172, 171 through 181. December 28th through the 31st, 200,000 shares, fairly significant. So this is one I would be looking for a potential continuation. Kara, interesting area. I mean, 17 essentially is what we need to see a good break over, right? It's over the 200-day moving average. It's been consolidating in this range, and every time it gets up into the 17 and change area, it seems to pull back. You've got a trend line here that could serve as some resistance. It did look like volume picked up a little bit on Friday. Look for a potential follow through on Kara. It's got there was an analyst also that came out on Thursday, I think, raised the price target on Kara, or maybe this was his best pick for 2016. I think that's what it was. But interesting look on Kara. It's been consolidating in this range for a while. Be nice to see it break over 17, test 18, test this trend line, take it out with some conviction. Oak, one of those oil and gas names. Look, there are a lot of charts in the oil and gas sector that look just like this one right here. Okay, and you can see some nice moves in that sector in some of these charts that have been really beaten down. Oak is one of them that I happen to like quite a bit for a $25 roll. PTX, what was it that happened on P? Oh yeah, I think it was Morgan Stanley announced a significant position in this PTX. I also tried to take this one on Friday. I should have taken it at 285. I didn't. Uh, Looking for a 3 roll trend line break with some conviction. You know, I had some decent volume on Friday. Look for potential follow through of that move, but this PTX I think is interesting. EGY, I actually did take some EGY. It's another one of those oil and gas names. I took it at 155, I believe, or somewhere in that range. And I'm holding it for potentially, you know, what I'm kind of thinking is you can come back up and into the $2 holler range, somewhere around there. But I likely would scale some of it at like $1.85 or so, or $1.80. And let's see what else we got going on. LPG. You know, I've been watching LPG for so long now, ever since their last earnings, which was pretty darn good. And there's been some heavy insider buying from 1064 up to 1275. You know, it basically came down. It tested this trend line now. Maybe we come back down and test this again. $11 is kind of where I ideally would really like to get this. And this would be for a long-term hold or a more of a swing. You know, shipping, that whole sector has been beaten up really badly over the last several years. And at some point, I do think we're going to see it, you know, start to, I do think we will start to see a bottom form there. And I like this particular company. I like the fact that you've got this insider buying. So this may be one that I would be looking to get involved in potentially next week. SGNT, you know, some news came out after the close on Thursday. I'm not sure how it's going to react, but I thought the pattern was somewhat interesting. You know, it is coiling, it's consolidating here, right below the $16 holla. It has, you know, these candles. I mean, it can travel pretty decently within a day, right? I mean, it's got some travel there with those candles. It's a little sloppy, so it might be more of a scalp type trade. If it can take out 17 with conviction, maybe this bad boy goes on a nice little run. But it's somewhat compelling, this SGNT. HZN is like, I love this. I love the way this thing looks right here. Super, super thin though. Okay, so you got to be extremely careful with this. I think this is a recent IPO. Yes, it is. It's a recent IPO. The volume is, you know, it's light volume. It's a thin floater. You got to be a bit cautious with this thing. But it is, I mean, it just looks hot to me, right? So we can take out this trend line with conviction, take out the $11 holla. I think you get a nice move. I mean, you need to see some volume come into this like it did back here, where we got, you know, over 1 million shares traded. You know, you see 1 million shares trading in this name and it's breaking out. I think you can get a nice little run. ACHN, biotech name that looks pretty hot. You know, it is a, I will say this about ACHN though. I mean, it closed above 1050, which is, or 1060 is kind of where I wanted to see it get through. It got through it, but what it wasn't a whole lot of conviction behind it. I mean, it is up, right? I mean, it's been grinding up. It's kind of a grinder. I like the fact that you've got the 50-day, which is crossed above the 100-day. You want to see this take out $11 with some real conviction, and maybe it's waiting on news before that happens. But ACHN has got a pretty sweet look to it. Like I said, want to see it break over 11 with some conviction. Could be fun. FHCO, look, another really thin name. I mean, I'm talking this thing traded 71,000 shares, but you've got some decent insider buying from 144 to 148. And what's interesting about this one, I believe they're going through a whole management change, new management. So, and then you've got some insider buying. I like the combination. This is a low floater. It could, you know, rip if you get some real action or some real volume into it. I think it's worth paying attention to FHCO. And then this is the last one, is TLN. So I actually took TLN on Friday, and this is the trade that I was going to go over and show you why I actually took it. So you got some insider buying going on from $6.18 up to $6.76, which was actually fairly. Oh, so here's another insider buy. When was this? December 28th at $6.62, 10,000 shares from the CEO. So you've got some insider buying going here. You know, this is a stock that has been in a clear downtrend, dominant downtrend, but you get some insider buying at this level. So what I did basically was I watched this on the open on Friday, and let me just show you what I was looking at here. I watched the open on Friday, and it was basically an open, and it was just straight down. So what I did was I said, you know, and I told the people in the chat room, listen, I'm looking at picking up some TLN for a swing at $6 if $6 can hold. And sure enough, it basically came down right to $6. It was not on a lot of volume, okay, when it was pulling back right off of the open to $6. I took it at $6.02. And my target was $6.40. And you say, gee, Tim, where'd you pull that? Where'd you pull that target from? And I'll show you where I pulled it from. Hold on a second here. Get this all fit in. Well, I can't show you. So there was, because I can't scroll out on this bad boy. Let me put it over here. TLN. Essentially, when I was watching it throughout the day, there was there's a little pivot right here at $6. See this right here? This little pivot line, $6.43 or so. So 640 was, I felt, was close enough to that pivot, and that was my target. And you know, look, if it wouldn't have hit 640 in the day, I wouldn't have scaled any of it. I would have just held it. But it hit, so I did scale out some shares at 640. I still hold the position for swing. I'm going to watch it again on Monday and see if it pulls back into the $6.16 range, and maybe look to add back. You know, I mean, here's what I know. I know that there was insiders that were buying it at 618, 641, 676, and now 660, whatever. You know, if I can buy it at $6, I felt as though I was getting it at a better price than they were, and I thought maybe it would find some support in that area, which it did. So the other trade I was going to go over with you real quick, you know, let's just pull up my watch list from last week, and it was not nearly as impressive in performance as the previous week's watch list, although Rexy had a very nice move, and Vuzi had a tremendous move, and that was actually my best play of the week. I took Vuzi for a swing at I think it was $6.57, and I wound up my target. So initially, my target was $8, and we got that 8 test. I did scale out, I believe, some. I scaled out half, I think, at 750. And or 757 is where I scaled out. I got a full buck out of it, and then held some lottos. It scaled some more at 8, and then scaled some more at. It closed it all out at $8.50, which actually was the almost. It hit that right at the close of the day on I think it was Wednesday. So, and then the following morning, Vuzi actually spiked up to, I think, close to 9 pre-market, and then once it opened, it just faded all day long. So that turned out to be a tremendous sell. So one thing, my buddy had, a buddy of mine kind of runs some of the conventions that are happening here in Las Vegas, and I mentioned last week that CES was coming up and that there could be some product unveilings and some interesting things happening in the tech sector. My buddy misinformed me and told me that CES was running from the 3rd until the 7th. It's actually, he was incorrect. He was telling me on New Year's Eve. It actually starts, I think, towards the end of this week, and runs through into the weekend. So still could have some things coming up. Vuzi was one of those that I thought could get some play heading into CES, and now it's already had a fairly nice move. We'll see how it sets up. Now I'm kind of watching it for a pullback. Watt was another one. I do have a position in Watt that I am hoping to see we get some action in this next week heading into CES. Other than that, though, I do not have a very big list. That is my list of stocks to watch for next week. Let me see real quickly here. If there's anything from last week's list that sticks out. I didn't go through these. Rovi consolidating. Look, a lot of people trying to take short positions in that, and it had a big run, so there's no doubt it probably could see some pullback. AMSC. Look, this stock had a nice run up. Tried to go test the $8 holla last week. I did not catch this for a day trade, but the opportunity was absolutely there. MEG, this one is kind of interesting. It keeps consolidating in this area. MPTN, it's got a decent look to it, kind of breaking down a little bit. YRCW, I am still watching this YRCW. 13 bucks would have been my ideal entry for YRCW. LPG, we just carried that over to this week. BAX is somewhat interesting. IMGN, still consolidating. I still like this IMGN. Insider buys at $12.51 there. If it pulled to $12.45, I might get involved. RLYP, still love the way this RLYP looks. I mean, it's just coiling up here. BCLM, that had news about Baker Brothers last week after the close and really didn't get any follow through, but it is consolidating a bit. ATU has got that insider buying. I am watching this one for a pullback to the 2350 area. I want to see if that holds. I know that we've got insider buying at 2431 and 2312 and 2371. So 2350, if it were to pull back there, I might get interested. I'd be more interested if I could get a pullback to 2234. I may look to get involved there. XNet, not much there. FRPT, I'd like to get that back at the $6.90 range. If it could pull back and into that range, $7, I would like to get involved. CLDX, still kind of consolidating a little bit. It may pull back to that lower trend line. BTX, bench, same thing. Looks like it wants to come back down, and that's it. That was the whole list. Oh, NYMX. You know what? There's some news on this one after the close on Thursday. I'm not sure. I didn't really look it up yet, but there's been a lot of insider buying in this NYMX too. These are all insider buys here. So I have some exciting things coming out for 2016. We've already started the free chat room, and if you haven't participated, but you're looking for a place to hang out with some like-minded people, it's a great group of traders and different styles, but very cool. And I'm hoping to see that grow throughout the year next year. We are working on creating a new website instead of just the blog. which hopefully will get up and running sometime in the first quarter of this year. And I am also working on an educational, a digital educational program that I hope to reveal within the first quarter of the next year. So lots of exciting stuff happening. Um, I appreciate you taking the time to follow me, and I hope you get something out of this. I'm looking forward to next year. I think it's going to be a fantastic year, and that's it. All right. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see y'all next week.